What's up and welcome back to Beat Goblin. Today I'm walking you through the making of a vaporwave style track on my phone. I'm an Android user, I'm rocking a OnePlus 6, so I have a more limited selection of music production apps than iOS users, but I'm using Koala Sampler, which is one of the absolute best. All that being said, let's jump into it. All right, so here is the basic chop that I'm building the entire track off of. And this is a synthwave track of mine that I actually showed the making of on the MC 101. Mixed it in post, and then brought the whole damn song into here, and I've chopped it up using the lazy chop feature, and I'll show you how to use that in a second. But essentially, so I've taken a select few of those, and just cranked the pitch down as far as it'll go, which not only pitches it down, but slows it down by that amount as well. So just built a really simple little pattern. And it was super important to have that little turnaround there where that chord changes. Helps it feel less static. But let me show you how to chop something up from scratch. So I've got a sound selected, which is just the entire song. I'm gonna hit Edit, go to Tools, and Auto Chop. So it'll take its time to think about it. There are a few ways to approach this, and I've filled up a bunch of my pads, so I'll just show you how to get it set up, and then I just won't hit the chop button once I'm finished. So there are a few different settings you need to know about. First of all, you can have it chop by transients, so any peaks in the audio, it'll choose those, and you can kind of set how sensitive that is. There is equal, so it'll just space it at equal increments, or there's lazy. Whenever I want to insert a chop point, I'm just going to hit this little tab here. I can add as many of these as I want. It'll even tell me how many pads I have left to spare. And I highly recommend sending everything to a choke group and just have a dedicated choke group for the samples. So you can play something and let it ring out, but have each sample cut off the previous one that plays. You can also set these to one shot, so that'll make sure that once you select a pad, it'll just play the whole thing. So typically, I'll do it so it's sent to a choke group and one shot is turned on. And I typically turn playthrough off. What playthrough will do is it'll start at the start point that you've set and then just play the whole sample, which for a shorter sample will be fine. For this like 2-3 minute song, that would get really annoying to work with. And once you're done, you just hit chop. That's the whole setup. So once I did that, I selected these chops. And we've got the basis of our track. And you can see that that is indeed set to one shot and sent to choke group 1. Up next is some Foley, which is pretty fun. These are like some prop keys recorded in the middle of a store, just with my phone camera, and you can actually import videos as audio. So if you happen to just record something with your camera that sounded cool, you can bring it into here. And once again, I've grabbed little chops of the percussive sounds, and I've also done some editing in tone here to cut some of the lows. Get rid of some of that background noise, because a lot of that lives in the low frequencies. And I've also layered this snare with this snare from my $5 one-shot sample pack. This is also pitched way down, just as a little layer. Up next, this synth stab, also from my $5 sample pack, is played using the keyboard. This looks a little weird horizontally, but get the idea. And this is set to be polyphonic, so the sounds will ring out for a while and bleed into each other. And I think that sounds pretty nice. And in post, I've gone through and added quite a bit of reverb and other processing. And the only other main element is this sound right here that I'm using as an ARP. And while the main lead melody is something I just played in live, the ARP is something I just programmed in. So I programmed in the individual notes of this first chord, and then just copy pasted it, brought it an octave up, and then copy pasted that across the entire 4-bar loop I've got going here. It's fairly simple and maybe sounds just a little bit janky, but I think in the context of the mix, it works. And I've got this tom that I also played using the keyboard for a little fill. Once I had that loop going, I went into export and chose to export the current sequence, and it allowed me to export the multi-tracks of it, which then I just uploaded to Google Drive and then brought into my DAW of choice, Reaper. So I'm going to show you a full playthrough of the full arrangement, and I'll also pop open the different plugins that I'm using in Reaper to show you how I've processed this stuff to get it up to a slightly more polished level of sound quality.